Hi, I'm Mars from StrataGames, and today we're playing a brew that I made that I'm calling Red Lead. I was messing around with the Red Rally deck, thinking about Burning Tree Emissary and how it makes green mana for us, so is there any way we could possibly use that green mana more effectively? And my thought was maybe we could cast Lead the Stampede and Winding Way to be our card advantage for the deck. Now this is crazy because we're a mono green deck. However, there have been quite a few red hybrid cards that can produce green mana. Manamorphose being a big one, and Wild Canter. Now Manamorphose is a lot better than the Canter, but unfortunately it is not a creature for our Lead the Stampede or Winding Way, where the Canter is, and the Wild Canter can be put in our hand with them. So basically this is red Lead the Stampede, but lead rhymes with red, you see, so I'm calling it Red Lead instead of red Lead. Now the thing about Lead the Stampede and Winding Way is you need a high density of creatures. We're playing 16 lands and 12 spells with the Winding Ways, Lead the Stampedes, and Manamorphose, and that means we're not able to play any lightning bolts in this deck, so we are exclusively trying to win by combat damage, and ideally, having enough card draw with the Lead the Stampede and Winding Way, we can get across the finish line. We're also playing Street Wraith because this is a creature that can be picked up with the Lead the Stampede or Winding Way, but essentially just shrinks our deck size. Both this and Manamorphose replace themselves for card and mana, or the Street Wraith rather just costs no mana at all. So this is also a way to kind of shrink our deck size down to 52 cards, while the Morphos actually still provides some pretty good utility. Other than that, we're playing some pretty standard creatures: Goblin Tomb Raider, Clockwork Percussionist, Valdaran Epicure, Reckless Lackey, and of course 4 Bushwhackers. I couldn't actually fit Rowley at the Hornburg in the deck because it's not a creature. I could put something like Mogg War Marshal in, and it's possible that the deck would want something like that, but for now I figure just more cheaper creatures like the Lackey could be beneficial. Then in our sideboard, pretty standard red Rally stuff, and the festivities: Pyroblasts, Red Elemental Blast, 2 Cast in the Fire, Suplex, and Relic, and a couple Flash of Defiance, which I stole from some of the top decks at Pauper again. So let's take this for a league and see how we do. Alright, game 1 here we have the turn 1 Tomb Raider into Epicure plus Canter, and then the following turn I could Lead the Stampede. This hand seems fine. So the unfortunate part about the Canters is to actually get the green mana from them, you have to sacrifice them, which is obviously bad. Ideally, if it can turn into a Lead the Stampede that can draw us 3 or 4 or 5 cards, it will be worth it, but obviously there's the variance. We could hit 1 or even 0 cards off the Lead the Stampede. And our opponent mulligans to 5, they're on something Tron. There's a Candy Trail, scry 1 to the top. We of course get the perfect start, in the game of Magic, and that is the Tomb Raider. Second Tomb Raider coming out next turn is pretty good as well. Urza's Tower and another Candy Trail. Interesting, they're not even just cracking this one. Maybe they have another something to play for 1 mana here. Yep, there's the map. Hopefully we can make sure they don't get enough time to do much here. And a Percussionist off the top. It's kind of interesting. I could just play the Wild Canter, because that would let us Lead the Stampede. But we have so many 1-drops in hand, I think we're probably just playing the creatures out that we have. We want to pressure as quick as possible, which we can do pretty well. And Lead is probably going to come in, I would say, about 2 turns. They crack a Candy Trail, play a Crystal Grotto. Makes sense if they already have the land or are looking for it. They want to save the Expedition map to find the land that they can't find. So we get a Bushwhacker. This is 5. Bushwhacker would be another 5, so 10. So not lethal, so we're just going to play a couple creatures out so that our Bushwhacker's even more damage next turn. Probably going to be lethal. And we played the Percussionist instead of the other Canter, because if I draw a land here, then I can play Canter and give it haste with the Bushwhacker, so we get an extra damage by playing the haste creature this turn. They sack the Candy Trail, so I got to deal 13, which is going to be... And they crack the map, so we have nothing to worry about. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 with the Bushwhacker. So even if we don't draw the land for the Canter, we're just going to win here. And a Burning Tree Emissary, that actually makes it so we can't Bushwhacker. So I guess I could sack the Canter, but this will just be lethal, so no worries. We mostly look like a red Rally deck here. We did show them the Canter, which is a little awkward, but I don't expect they'll really change what they're going to sideboard much. I don't think we bring anything in here. With the Crystal Grotto, they're probably... Well, the Candy Trails, they're probably Ultratron, I would guess. Although not sure why they do Grotto over one of the Surveil ones, but they have some artifacts. I think we'd rather just have more creatures, so let's just resubmit. All right, here we have... Yeah, this hand's keepable. We have the Manamorphose for the Winding Way on turn 2. I would love to find a Great Furnace so we can play this Tomb Raider and have it haste right away. If not, we'll just play the Percussionist. Or Epicure, I guess. Yeah, we'll do Epicure. I might end up saving Manamorphose Winding Way for like the next turn, because now turn 2 I can play Percussionist and Tomb Raider. They have nothing here, but it looks like they might just have Natural Tron. We also get a Lackey. But let's just play the Percussionist so that if they have like a Breath Weapon, I at least get something out of it. Hit for 4. There's the Natural Tron. Warped Tusker. Oh, it's just Monster Tron. Okay. That might be tough to deal with. It's hard to attack in. So we probably just try to build up our forces, and then we can play a big Bushwhacker at some point. So I think we're going to Manamorphose for red-green. We hit our land, which is nice. So I can actually play a Lead the Stampede here. Although we only hit 2 creatures. Not great. We'll just pass. But if they start casting a giant creature every turn, it's going to be pretty hard to come back from this. Boulder Branch Golem, yeah, gains them 6 life. And a map. Sack the map for Crystal Grotto. Could just play out a bunch of creatures, or I could go for the Winding Way. Probably do that, because we also get to Manamorphose here, which draws us a card, might hit a land. Red, green. Winding Way. For creatures, we get 2. Alright, I guess we're playing a Wild Canter. Play their Grotto. And Aspect of Lamprey gives lifelink, and we discard 2 cards. Interesting. Sure. I could jump with the Wild Canter. I don't think we're doing that yet. We'll take 6. I mean, we're probably dead here, but theoretically we could build up enough creatures to Bushwhacker in like a turn or 2. A couple Burning Tree Emissaries. Play that into another. I should have jumped with the Percussionist, actually, maybe. Into Tomb Raider, Percussionist. If we attack with everybody, we get in for not a lot. Let's leave back the Canter to jump this time. We're going to lose a Tomb Raider hidden for 5. Another Grotto, Scry to the top. They attack just with the 6/5 this time, sure. Leaving the Lifelinker back. Street Wraith. We're gonna cycle that. Mountain, so I can jump with the Lackey and sack it to draw a new card. Block and sacrifice. Street Wraith, which I could cast. I don't think that's going to do me much good, though. Another Boulder Branch. Lead the Stampede. All right. See if we can get there. Lackey and Cancer. I think we're going to lose this one. 27 life. I mean, they have a whole bunch of ways to gain life here. I guess now we know they have artifacts that are big and could be good to exile. Of course, we know bringing these in is going to make our draw spells even worse. Then again, this is a match where we kind of just want to go faster, I think. So I think maybe we cut the Lead the Stampedes for them. If we're cutting that many leads, maybe we don't need as many Morphos. So maybe we do like 2 and 2. This hand does not look great. Don't have the green mana for the Winding Ways. This is not very fast. Let's get rid of it. We need another land, and then it's pretty decent. But we got to get rid of it. All right, here we go. Get rid of Street Wraith. Morphos. I think we're just going with a standard classic red deck wins hand here. They also mulligan to 5. Swing with the Tomb Raider. They got a map. Burning Tree's not bad. It's just an extra creature for the Bushwhacker next turn. We do burn this green mana, but that's fine, because we get to swing for 3, and next turn we get to swing for 10. Crystal Grotto. They pass. I could Epicure here. We hit for 6. I do think there's a possibility they could get to like a Breath Weapon. I think we just go for the Bushwhacker here. I don't know what they could do for just 1 colored mana here. Putting them down to 5 feels pretty good. I assume they'll just crack the Expedition map. And that seems to be the case for a power plant. They have the Crop Rotation, so that's Tron. 5 mana here. Candy Trail puts him to 8. We have 6 damage on board plus an Epicure. Not quite lethal. Second Epicure will be lethal though, unless they have 2 mana colorless way to gain life or prevent damage. Ping them for 1, ping them again. Nice first match. You can now pick up my comprehensive guide to Esper Cryo Affinity, including 38 sideboard matchups, and I just put out a big update for my Black Sack guide, including a slightly different deck list. I began offering coaching sessions if you're interested in taking your Pauper game to the next level, and I'm accepting deck donations, so if you desperately want me to play a deck that I usually wouldn't play, something like Elves, then you can make me do that for a small fee. I've started posting a League video every single day, not to mention streaming at least a couple times a week on Twitch, but I'm not going to be able to keep that up forever unless I can get a little bit more help from the community. Any of the ways I've just mentioned are great ways to help me out, or you can even subscribe and support me on a monthly basis. Round 2 here, we have the turn 2 Winding Way. Yeah, this hand's fine. Depending how we draw, we could also just save the Winding Way and get down like Canter and Percussionist on turn 2. For more attacks. Start with an Epicure. More Tron, apparently. We'll see what flavor this is. Another Canter. Yeah, I think we just want to go fast. Play one of these. Play a Percussionist. Swing for 2. They cycle a Generous Ent. So could be more Monster Tron. I don't really know what else would play the Generous Ent and Ridgeline. I've not played against Monster Tron in forever, and now 2 in a row is crazy. There's a Candy Trail. Burning Tree Emissary. That's pretty nice. I don't even have to use the Morphos then to go for the Winding Way. So cast that, choose creature. Ooh, 3 new cards. Obviously, I could cast something off the canter, but I don't think there's a reason to do that. Just swing for 3, and then next turn, Bushwhacker for a bunch. I might even mana Morphos just to try to hit a land drop so I could play it like an Epicure and then the Bushwhacker. They could have Breath Weapon main deck, so I maybe should be a little worried about that with this Candy Trail. We could just attack for 5 if I want to play it safe. I think we have enough cards in our hand, enough advantage that I should play it safe. Like, because if they do board wipe here, I can just rebuild. So let's hit for 5. If they have a Breath Weapon, I feel like they should use it. And I think if they're main decking Generous Scent and Wooded Ridgeline, it's probably for something like that. They don't this time. They just crack the Candy Trail. That's fine. I am going to Manamorphose to see if we can hit our land drop. And I'm just going to go for red-red because we're probably going to play 2 of these. And if I get like a Lead the Stampede, I could always canter it. Okay, another Bushwhacker. Well, we get to Epicure and Lackey. And if they don't find the Breath Weapon, they're pretty much just dead next turn. Another Candy Trail. Playing it now means they don't have Tron in hand. Scry 2 to the bottom, play a tower. So they're at a virtual 14. Bushwhacker's definitely lethal. So I think I'd just go for it. Unless they were really patient. Feels like they don't have a Breath Weapon here. Even if they do, we still have a lot of damage in hand. So we're just going to go try to win this turn. They did have it. They did make a minor mistake, though. They did this in our main phase. So I can sack this Cantor and still play a haste creature here. But, you know, I tried to play around it before. They had it after all. Oh, and we even get a Tomb Raider off the Clockwork. That's pretty funny. So I'll play that. Yeah, they should have waited till our combat so that I would have cracked the Cantor and probably just blood token something away, but we got to get in for a little bit of extra damage there. Play a Forest. 5 mana isn't too scary. 6 mana is where they start getting Ents and things. Relic of Progenitus, doesn't matter. They could have a mini Boulder Branch here. Yep, there it is. Okay. Up to 12. Manamorphose. Let's just cast that. Red, get our Great Furnace. I think we're just playing everything with the Bushwhacker here. And yeah, obviously we gotta hope for no second Breath Weapon. But it was either that or I could just like Bushwhacker, throw a creature away, or I could just attack with the Tomb Raider for 3. Feels like we might as well wait. Candy Trail. Scry to the bottom. They crack a Candy Trail. Crystal Grotto. Crack another Candy Trail. I mean, up to 17. And crack the Relic. Percussionist. Yeah, I think we just go for a Bushwhacker this turn. Get in for a lot of damage. Throw a creature away. Probably this Lackey. Oh, they go for the Tomb Raider. That means they're going to trade. I'm okay with that, but obviously that means if they have like a, I mean, either way, like a Breath Weapon wipes our board. Finally find Tron with the Power Plant. Brambleworm. I mean, this isn't the best deck for us to go up against. They are a little bit slow, but then every single one of their giant creatures just gains them life. So definitely an easy one for us to lose against. They could also play a Generous Scent here. There's a map for a tower. Street Wraith. Cycle that. There's the Winding Way. They might have another Breath Weapon here. I'm only getting in for a little bit of damage either way. We have to hope they don't have the Breath Weapon, and I'm just gonna turn this into a Winding Way. Hope we hit. A lot of hopes here. We do get a Bushwhacker, which could currently hit for 8. Not quite good enough, I don't think. Cycle the Street Wraith. Blood token away a Furnace. Get a Clockwork Percussionist. And we'll pass. There's a Boulder Branch Golem. And a Maelstrom Colossus. Do a Pinnacle Kill Ship. Can blow up any of our guys. They're at 18 life. Yeah. Alright, we gotta be faster. We get Artifact Removal. Morphos and Lead the Stampede out. Alright, this is a turn. We have nothing on turn 1, which is really unfortunate, but then we have turn 2, 2 Emissaries into a Winding Way. Hopefully that'll be good. And then we have a Bushwhacker after that, so if our Winding Way hits pretty well, yeah, this is just missing a nice 1-drop to be really superb. Now, of course, comparing this to a red rallied hand, these Winding Ways would be rallies. That'd be probably better in this situation to get 6 damage that we're going to miss. In this matchup where we want to be fast, obviously I think an actual rally deck would be better, but I think there are some others where the card draw can be really strong. They play a Candy Trail, another Mountain, play Emissary, into Winding Way. We hit 1 Clockwork Percussionist. And we still have a pretty good turn 3, but imagine if we could have hit a little bit more. There's another Trail. Scry 1 to the top, 1 to the bottom. They are missing on lands. Well, that's good. Percussionist, and I think we just Bushwhacker here. Hit for 10. They find another land. Candy Trail up to 13. Lead the Stampede. No mana for it, though. But we do just get to hit for 7 and pass. I guess not quite lethal next turn because of the Candy Trail. Crack that. Go to cleanup. Alright, we do win that game because they kept a 1-lander. Alright, here, yeah, hand is fine. Crystal Grotto. Scry to the bottom. Lead the Stampede. Alright, let's go with a Lackey here. Swing. Probably going to save this Morphos for the Lead the Stampede once we have 3 mana. Play a Mine. They have an Ancient Stirrings. Finds a power plant. Another land is not what we wanted. So I could always try to go with the Morphos now to try to hit something else, but like we need the green for the Lead the Stampede, so I think we're just doing Epicure, and I can discard the Suplex if it's not relevant this turn. Candy Trail. Scry 2 to the bottom. Crack right away. Yeah, I think we're getting rid of it. Winding Way. Another Morphos for the Winding Way. Alright. Well, I guess we're not doing the Bushwhacker this turn, and we're just going to go for Manamorphose. Red, green, into Lead the Stampede. 3 creatures, swing for 2, pass the turn, play another Candy Trail, keep 1 on top. They play a Mine, pass the turn, cycle our Street Wraith. They don't currently have Breath Weapon mana up, and we get an Epicure, so I probably just go for Epicure, Canter, Bushwhacker. Hit for 10. I guess they could have like a Weather the Storm, which we're hoping they don't. Swing with the crew. Tangle. Okay, that's pretty annoying. Was not expecting that. There's the Boulder Branch. Crack the Candy Trail. Street Wraith, we'll cycle it. Manamorphose into green-red. Winding Way. Hitting creatures, we hit 3. Now I have to be worried about Tangle and Breath Weapon. That's pretty annoying. Let's play a couple of these guys and just pass. They have another Golem. Blood Token away a Mountain. They have Tangle mana up as well. We can just play almost everything and attack for a bunch, but then they just tangle and we're toast. I guess I'm just going to kick a Bushwhacker here, attack with a bunch, and if they tangle, we can at least follow up with some more creatures. Yep, there it is again. I guess I need Flaring Pain in the sideboard. Not that I knew this was coming out. Play Percussionist, and I guess a Burning Tree Emissary. They cast Maelstrom Colossus, which reveals End the Festivities. Perfect. I guess we'll sack the Canters for some mana in response. Usually not too upset when they cascade into a 1-drop, but that's a pretty good one. Another Bushwhacker. Alright, we're not going to win this one. We got a mulligan the No-Lander. This one is fine, I guess. Get rid of the Morphos. There's a Mountain. So doing it this way, I am taking the slow approach. I have to, unless I top deck another Manamorphose or whatever, I have to save the Burning Tree Emissary for turn 3 for Lead the Stampede, so it's not going to attack as quickly. Since we're against another red opponent, maybe the card advantage we get could be good enough for us. Although if we're against Red Madness, then having no removal for Gutter Snipes and Flame Breathers is going to be problematic. Another Lead the Stampede? Well, now I wish I had Manamorphose, obviously. We're just going to pass. Take 1. There's another Epicure. Pass. Oh my god. Okay, we have 4 Lead the Stampedes. I can't imagine casting all of these, ever. But we'll cast 1 for a Tomb Raider. Perfect. Swing for 1. They trade. Blood away a Mountain. Grab the prize, discarding a Temper. Epicure and Flame Breather. I could just Tomb Raider Bushwhacker. That's not going to win us the game. Let's dig here. I think if we didn't get all 4 Lead the Stampedes, we might have been okay. I guess Suplex can remove their guys. We might want some actual removal on the sideboard. Relics, I don't think we need. Let's get rid of some of this. Alright, this one's fine. Start with a Lackey. Swing for 1. They pass. I guess we'll cycle a Street Wraith in the burn matchup. Feels a little bad. I'm just gonna Manamorphose. I don't want to just waste the just do a Lackey here, so we're gonna Morphose for red and green. Play a Winding Way. We hit 2 creatures off of it. Swing for 1. They play a Flame Breather. Just gonna play all my 1-drops and swing in. Luckily these all have 2 toughness, so nothing's gonna die here. Hit for 3. Faithless Looting. Discards another Looting and a Temper. Take out the Tomb Raider. Another Bushwhacker is pretty decent, so we get to just kick both of these and swing in for a bunch. They do get to just eat this guy, which I could not attack with it, but I don't think that makes much sense. They could bolt or dart this guy, and they're taking at least 9. Yeah, bolt a Lackey down to 6. There's a Gutter Snipe. Burning Tree Emissary. I guess we're casting that into the Lead the Stampede. Getting 3 creatures. Percussionist. Gonna pass pass. I should have played the Cantor because Percussionist has haste for next turn. They have the Lava Dart, so we're also probably just dead. They get to pick off a couple of our guys, if not just kill us. There's another Flame Breather and an Epicure. We get a Street Wraith. Perfect. I definitely wanted to die right now. I don't think we can get through here. This is why you want direct damage in these decks, I guess. Who knew? Crack-a-Lackey, Tomb Raider. We'll swing with this guy, I guess. Block. We find a Winding Way. Well, if we somehow don't die here and we get enough creatures with like a Bushwhacker, we could get there. Double Epicure, sure. They have a Highway Robbery. That's going to deal us 4, plus the Lava Dart can deal us 5. We will die. All right, this one is fine. We're against more Tron. Okay, please stop. I mean, if it's not Monster Tron, I think we actually have a decent shot because they're generally slow, although this is Tron on turn 3. Metamorphose. Alright, well I get to Burning Tree Emissary into Percussionist and Cantor. The next turn I can Morphos for the Lead the Stampede. There's Foundry and Spectre. Okay. So Eggstron, sack the star for another star and a map, play a Retriever. Okay, so Altertron, but they're using Inspector, which is not as common. There's an Alter. Sack the Retriever to get back a star, draw another card, and they have the second Retriever. They still need something to win through this loop. I mean, they have infinite mana then, because the Retrievers now only cost 1 to play, but they still need an outlet for their mana. Or card draw, the map could find like a cycling land, which could be an extra card draw. Urza's Tower. I mean, that doesn't do anything here. Alright, they pass. If only we had instant speed removal, or any speed removal actually, to kill this Inspector. We're just going to attack with everybody. They probably shouldn't use this Inspector to block. Maybe they will. Just seems risky in case I have like an End the Festivities, but they do. Fair enough. They also block the Percussionist with the Mirror Retriever, but they're sacking it, which means they should have blocked the Burning Tree because they would have taken less damage. Alright, now I get to Manamorphose into green-red. Cast a Lead the Stampede. Perfect. Exactly how we planned it. Mirror Retriever gets back Star. Star draws a card. There's a Pact Altair. So both Retrievers are in the grave, so they need one more Retriever again. But if they can get that, they win. Dark Moss Bridge, okay. Plus they're just gaining a bunch of life here, I suppose. Imagine if the Lead the Stampede was actually good there. Street Wraith. Guess I'll cycle this Cantor for another Lead the Stampede. There we go, we hit some spells. Epicure, Cantor, pass. Offering a Wellspring. Trigger the Terror. Prism. There's another Pact Altair. Alright, we're gonna die. We get Relics, Cast on the Fire, Suplex for Lead the Stampede and Morphos, I think. Here, yeah, we have an okay hand. Start with the Epicure. They have a map. Lackey's a nice draw, so I can just play these and attack for 4. Dark Moss Bridge, well that looks perfect to Cast in the Fire, which means they can't even map unless they get another thing. I could Cast in the Fire the map, but I think this just makes more sense. Alright, we win that one. Well, this hand is very up in the air. Straight Wraith is a different card of some sort. Lackey and Epicure also get us different cards. We're going to cycle the Street Wraith, Percussionist, start with the Epicure. So the next turn I could go like Burning Tree, our 1-drop, and then Blood Token maybe, which I guess I could do next turn with just the Epicure, but that's fine. Play a Tower, crack the Star for nothing. Okay. Yeah, Burning Tree, Emissary, crack the Blood with the green. Now we get that second Burning Tree. That's annoying. If we'd had that before, we could get them both down and we'd have more power next turn. Tree of Tails. Chromatic Star. Crack that for black. They Weather the Storm for 6 life. Okay. I feel like that could be better. Burning Tree Emissary, Percussionist, Lackey, Hope for No, Breath Weapon, or Arms of Vidar, I guess, because they're kind of green-black. There's the Mine. So that's Tron online. There's the Altar, Map. Crack the Map for more mana. And there's another Weather the Storm. Bushwhacker's kind of nice. It's a lot of damage. Down to 10. And pass. Vault of Whispers. There's a Packdoll. There's a Wellspring. The Drain begins. Star. Crack for a black. Malevolent Rumble. Turns up 1 Retriever, which they can just leave in the yard. No, they actually choose to get the Retriever. Play that. They sack the Retriever for 2 mana. Pull out a Star. So if they just find another Retriever, they'll win. Well, if they have the mana for it. They don't currently this turn. Crack the Star. We get a Manamorphose. Well, I gotta cast that, because if we get like a Bushwhacker, we would just win. Yep, so let's do this. We're gonna get a green, obviously, though, in case we get a Lead the Stampede or something, or Winding Way. Casting the Fire is not bad, actually. I can just blow up the Pact Altair, which gains them life. It's their outlet, so they need another Retriever and another Pactol. That just lets us attack in. I can get rid of the Ashnod's Altar, but the Pactol still just does stuff, and the Altar's only for comboing, really. So now we put them down to 6 and pass the turn. It's definitely not a bad draw. They play and crack a star for a black mana, and they concede. All right. We're 2-1 against the Tron decks we faced today. Let's see if we're against any more Tron. All right, last round, I'm going to guess we're against Flickertron this time. This hand's decent because we just have some guys and a Bushwhacker. Street Wraiths obviously will turn into something. Hopefully, if we're against more red, then the Street Wraiths can be a bit of a liability. We're going to cycle him anyway because I could hit a Tomb Raider. We did not. So let's just play an Epicure. I mean, next turn we can do Lackey, Percussionist, the following turn Epicure, Bushwhacker. It's a pretty strong start, assuming we don't just get run over by Madness. There's the Flame Breather. Play these guys and pass. They cast a Robbery, discarding a Snacker. Play a Mountain. Burning Tree. Yeah, I guess Burning Tree. I was going to say into Bushwhacker. This is probably worse, because if they just have a Bolt, they can kill the Burning Tree Emissary. It doesn't matter that it's bigger. And I could have saved my green mana for like a Lead the Stampede or whatever. Winding Way, right there. Yeah, that was a mistake. But we'll kick a Bushwhacker and swing all out. I assume they'll bolt the Tree Emissary, block a Bushwhacker or Epicure, and then take 4? No, 6. Okay, they only had the block, so they took 9. Ended up not being the worst, but obviously using the green and not getting a Winding Way is still bad. Faithless Looting and Fiery Temper. Oh, they got 2 Fiery Tempers off the Faithless Looting. That's brutal, so we're down to 6. So we're just dead if they have a bolt or anything. Yep, they attack with both. I assume we're dead then. There it is. We get the Suplex. I think that's it. We probably need... Searing Blaze was a card I considered for the sideboard. We clearly need it to be able to fight the red deck. All right, we'll keep this one. We have the turn 2 Winding Way. Go for the Epicure. They got nothing. We'll swing for 1. Burning Tree into the Winding Way. Creature. We have not done super well with the Winding Ways this game. The Searing Blaze, the Burning Tree Emissary. I could just go for like a Lackey Bushwhacker, attack for 6 here. I think we want to save Bushwhacker, which means I'm actually going for a Manamorphose, red-green, casting Lead the Stampede this turn, which finds 2 more Bushwhackers. Okay. Now I guess I just need lands. And then we can like do a bunch of creatures into Bushwhackers every turn. We've revealed to them 3 Bushwhackers, so I'm pretty sure they're holding up a bunch of removal, but what can we do about that? Not much. We'll do Percussionist, I guess Tomb Raider and Lackey. I don't have to cast a Bushwhacker this turn. And Casting the Fire, yep, 2 1 toughness guys. There's a Clockwork, trigger for a Voldaren Epicure, hit for 3. If I get a Mountain next turn, I can go Cantor, Epicure, Bushwhacker. That'd be nice. They grab the prize with a grab the prize. Seeing as they'd have no Flame Breathers, it's possible we can win the race here. Obviously, if they just have Lethal Burn on us, that's not going to work. Suplex doesn't do anything at the moment. So here's an Epicure into 1 Bushwhacker. Try to hit for 9. They have another Cast in the Fire, kind of what I expected, but they still take 5. Highway Robbery, sacking a Mountain. They have another Grab the Prize, discarding a Mountain. Winding Way. Well, if they have nothing, I can deal lethal with this Bushwhacker. I'm expecting them to have a Bolt on the Tomb Raider or a Lava Dart or something to stay alive. Try to swing for 9. There's a Bolt, so they're going to go down to 2. They have an End the Festivities. I'm going to sack the Wild Canter for a Blood Token, discarding this Winding Way. Another Bushwhacker, okay, and a Lackey. I'll play a Lackey and a Bushwhacker. They gotta have removal spells for all of them. All right, we win that game. They definitely drew a little poorly, but we'll take it. We need another land, but we have a Street Wraith and a Blood Token to try to make that happen, and we're on the draw, so we will keep. They have an Epicure. Cycle our Street Wraith, make it easier for them to kill us. Play Epicure. Grab the prize with the Snacker. We've not drawn our land. That's annoying. Discard this Lackey. Well, I guess we're going to just lose to keeping a bad 1-lander. We'll block here, take 2. There's a Flame Breather and an Epicure. And we're just going to unfortunately lose to not drawing any land. Well, that was a bit of a weird league, seeing so much Tron, especially Monster Tron, which is just not very common in the meta. And then Mono Red Madness twice, which is, one of the most common decks, so not as weird there. The deck didn't perform great. I do feel like there's something to this. I think maybe we would have done better if our Lead the Stampede's Winding Ways hit more creatures, obviously, which means maybe we just need to jam-pack the deck with even more creatures, which we can do. I could take out the Manamorphose. We did have green mana a fair amount of the time. I I feel like it's going to be pretty tough if we take the Manamorphose out. Maybe there's another creature we can find that fixes our mana. I could also put like Oliphants in place of lands, which is cards we could hit, but the slowing us down on mana could be really, really tough, obviously. I don't know. This could just be total jank. I think that's definitely a large possibility, but I also feel like there might be something here that could be decent. So in any case, thank you so much for watching. Thank you to my supporters, including my $10 and up monthly supporters, including Howard Granger, Rafa Rodriguez, JDNPX, Tommaso Magnani, Apple Beta Pi, Hal Kaz, Cody Cowell, Ill Intent, and Emmanuel Mayer. I really appreciate your support, and I will see you all next time.